How are you guys doing? Tango Mike, Val Phoenix, Shadix, VB. All good, my friends. Uh, Agent Solace, GM. Hoping for some Holosim Alpha. Bohemian, Suro, GM guys. Uh, I'll go fetch myself a glass of water and I'll be right back while people join. Be real quick, don't let anyone go away. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. And yes, a very eventful start of the year, right? Uh, we just came back from break, and I learned that my good friend Santi is going to try to become the biggest Habibi in Dubai. It is unfortunate, but we persevere, especially here in the Lord Keepers, because this is the holy the holy core of Star Atlas. Here is where the dreams are built, the most important, for me at least, part of what we are building here. And I have some things to share today. As you guys can imagine, this Santi leaving caused me some uh, troubles, let's say it like that. Not troubles, but some necessary adaptation because I'm going to be doing a lot of what he was doing, at least for now. So I didn't have as much time as I wanted to prepare these lore keepers, but I do have uh, some cool stuff to share today. And how should I? You know what? I'm just going to read. If you guys give me the license to read something real quick, I mean, not exactly real quick, but quick enough, I'll read them, and I think you guys will like what you hear. This is something that I was exploring during the short periods of peace that I had while my daughter was sleeping during the break. So let me just get it just a second. Book 1, The Promised Paradise. For the descendants of humanity, history is not a chain of coincidences. It is a pilgrimage. When confirmations reach the inner sanctums of the Manus Ultima Divina, the human explorer, Gion, has discovered the cataclysm, a region of space saturated with effectively limitless Dionysism. The response is immediate and irreversible. The cataclysm appears to fulfill the final promise of the revelation that guided humanity away from old Earth. Not merely survival among the stars, but arrival at their paradise. At the pinnacle of mud authority stands the Manus Ultima Divina Holy Family, the Gothi lineage. To them, the cataclysm is confirmation, proof that humanity's exile, expansion, and dominion were never random acts of desperation, but deliberate steps along a divinely sectioned path. Yet paradise does not arrive in unity. With the death of the patriarch Vincenzo Gotti, fracture begins to form within the Holy Family itself. The growthy throne, once unassailable, becomes contested ground, and the discovery of the cataclysm transforms from revelation into a political arena. Beneath the authority of the Manus Ultima Divina, humanity's greatest powers turns against one another. The holy servants proclaim that the cataclysm is sacred grounds, demanding consecrated claiming and absolute doctrinal supremacy. To touch it without their presence is heresy. To delay is doubting God Himself. The First Council, the architects of Mud's galactic expansion and enforcers of colonial obedience, see something far more practical, a strategic singularity. Whoever controls the cataclysm will control the balance of powers across the galaxy. Their answer is decisive action. Seize it before anyone else can. The Scientia branch of humanity raise alarms. Infinity Dionysian violates fundamental laws of physics and reality. The cataclysm, they argue, may be an existential anomaly rather than salvation, something capable of ending civilizations faster than any war. The Senate, already weakened by decades of divine centralization, pleads for restraint, treaties, shared oversight. A moment to think, but as fleets mobilize, their authority erodes by the hour. Yet, humanity's division do not end within its own halls. At the edges of the Manus territory, Eco's apostates lurks in the darkness, striking settlements, sabotaging infrastructure, and spreading chaos across the colonies. To them, the cataclysm is not paradise, but the final proof that humanity must never be allowed to stabilize its dominion over the stars. Beyond human space, tensions with the Xenos empires rise rapidly. Border strains, old grievances surface, and infinite possibilities represented by the cataclysm threaten to shatter the fragile balance between species. It is in these moments of revelation, fracture, and imminent war that Sharon Gotti, the young heir of the Holy Family, inherits dominion over hundreds of worlds. Can she unify a divided humanity beneath a single vision? Can she hold paradise without tearing civilization apart? Can she defend humanity from the enemies gathering beyond its borders? Learn the stories of humanity's most dangerous pilgrimage in the first volume of the Convergence War series. Yay, we have the very first structure for the first book, the first novel in Star Atlas history, guys. What do you guys think? I want this novel to be like while core focus more on the micro side of the smaller events. I want this novel series to be something that tackles the big picture of what's happening in Galia Expanse. So in this first book, welcome Katir, we are going to explore what is the Manus Ultima Divina in Star Atlas like. You guys remember the last lore keepers where I explained how humanity left planet Earth, and it was like a vision of how the ecos saw this, the destruction of planet Earth, the ascension to the stars, etc. This first book will be centered across the Manus Ultima Divina vision. It will be focused on Sharon Goatee, and at this moment of the Convergence War, she's just a young adult that inherits the throne of one of the biggest powers in the galaxy. And we will explore the division and political turmoil that exists within the Mud faction. So I'll present to you guys with many things that you guys, I think, never heard before. The political groups that exist within humankind. So, for example, you guys already know the Pierce Council, which gives rise to the Pierce manufacturers, and the military branch of the Council of Peace. But you guys will also see the Holy Servants, which you guys are getting to know now. You guys are getting to know now through the Galia game mode, right? Because you guys saw one of the paladins of the one of the chevaliers of the Holy Servants. You guys will learn about the Sentia, which are the researchers of humanity, the, let's say, the development branch that followed the fall of planet Earth, the scientists branch who also have a voice in the politics of humanity. You guys will learn about the Senate, how the politics of humanity works. You guys will learn about the Synod, which are the merchant groups that take care of the supply chains and overall trading companies of Galia, the guys who have helped humanity spread and create the colonies across the stars. We'll talk about the ecos, and we also talk about the different colonies of humanity. We'll talk about Redan, Xianyang, all the other colonies that you guys know as the sectors of Mud, medium risk zone. Those guys will be present there. They will be articulating for political powers in the Mud Empire. And the book ends with the decision. I won't spoil. I can't spoil everything, but exactly, Bohemian. This book will be like a very good guidance for that. Overall, it will link a lot of things that have been loosened related. You guys will start seeing how they actually connect and how they move together to form the Convergence War, to form the events of the core novel that you guys are seeing in the comics. I also have here the book 2 and book 3 summaries. Not sure if it's worth to read them out loud, or I can just summarize them for you guys if you want as well. The book 2 uh, is the Sogmian point of view. And it's going to be a very interesting shift from the Mud civilization, because the Sogmians, they are very, very different. Let me just give me a second, guys. Yeah, and just Solace. After I saw that you published your novel, I was like, you know what? I'll go and bring this content to the lore keepers, so the guy sees that I am actually also trying to to get the Stratos novels that I promised done. Here. Yeah, I'll not be able to have AI write those, but no, Bohemian. The idea is that I write those novels. Let me get the Ulster one as well. The book three is the is from the Ulsters. Here I post the Ulster version as well. So I'm currently thinking that this series will be something like 12 books long. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Warhammer lore, but this would be like our Horus Heresy book series, the pillar from which uh, all the other things happen. You know, like the side stories, the smaller factions, etc. This will be like the tree, and from there we'll have our branches. We'll have all those side stories explaining the minor factions, the events that will take place after the Convergence War, all the way to where we are today in the Star Atlas lore. The problem is that I just got many more obligations to fulfill now that we lost Santi. So it's unfortunate, but I'm not sure how long it will take for me to write those. I cannot finish them before C4. C4 is actually super close, so at least the PTR. It's impossible. I'm sorry, Bohemian. But it's going to be very cool. I have been looking forward to at least structure this uh, as quickly as possible. So I'm happy to at least get those here for you guys to at least know that I'm trying to 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 keep pushing the lore forward in Stratos. And talking about pushing the Stratos lore forward, uh, we have Holocene coming for us. And just today, I was with we had a team meeting, and I'll show you guys some character designs. Give me a second here. This is alpha. Don't let people know. If one of you go and post this on Foundation Room or something else, you guys, I'll ban all of you. I'll get fired, but I'll ban you all before I get fired. So I'll share here some images of some of the characters that are going to appear. Give me maybe some of those images I shared with you guys before, but those are one of the last paths that we are doing. Chatix, this is a hybrid between Mud and Miris. That's Martus. She's one of the ecos. Uh, she's going to be one of the villains of the Holosim story in this season. Yeah, it's the first actual art that we have for a hybrid character in Star Atlas, which makes me excited to finally getting those out. Okay, some those are some of the characters, and I'm glad you like it, Engine Solace. It is not the same quality that the Star Atlas artists would create for our trailers and something like that. But Holosim is all about experimenting and using resources at our disposal, leveraging AI, and etc. And I'm actually satisfied. I'm actually satisfied uh, with them. Yeah, this guy, Agent Solace, is going to be the uh, primary quest giver for the Oni in the simulation. He's he's a very fun guy. He's a very fun guy. You guys will sorry I was muting you, level X. They look great, not like Mud Crew.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that, guys.
I'll present each one of them. So the first one needs no presentation. She's Sage. She'll be together with you again during the quests. You'll hear a lot of Sage voice during this Holosim season, especially because she will have. I'm not sure if we ever told you guys this, but one of the coolest new features that we'll have for this Holosync chapter is that we'll have notifications in game. So, for example, let's say you are being attacked in one of your fleets in a given sector. Sage will come and talk to you and say, "Hey, Captain, enemy fleets are deploying on Redan. Take care." Or Eco's fleets are invading the frontiers, northwest frontiers of Galia Expanse. So not only Battle Bohemian, but pretty much everything meaningful that happens in the map that affects you directly, some way or another, you get notifications. So, for example, when you complete an achievement, uh, you get a notification. Uh, if you have your daily quest and you didn't do it yet, Sage will remind you that you need to complete that quest, and she will talk to you in the game. So I feel the game overall will be a lot more immersive during this season because of that. Like, we'll have actually meaningful, relevant sound feedback on everything that you guys do in the game, you know? And hold on, let me see if I can get us a code here. Just I'm asking Arthur Darwin if he can create a code for us. Almost that, Chad Roberts. She'll let you know, for example, when your mining is project is complete. So or if your fuel is running low on one of your fleets, etc., etc. Sage will get you covered, and it's going to be super interesting to see how you guys relate with this. The second one, the hybrid that I was just talking about, is Martu's Breeze, the seed binder of Balifa Grove. So the main antagonist of this season is going to be uh, the Balifa Grove, which is one of the sects of the Ecos faction. I think I mentioned this to you guys before, but the Ecos faction is divided into different groves, uh, and each one of them, of course, they are all equals. They are reunited under a council, but each of them has a high degree of autonomy on how they interpret the will of the planets, how they spread their renewal, how they engage with the other faction. Exact and Agent Solace, you can think them as a council of druids, sci-fi druids. And what happens with Balifa Grove is that Balifa Grove is the most radical sect of the Ecos faction. They are the guys who literally goes into a planet, terraforms the place with the population inside. GG double P, you dead. And the cool part of this campaign for Holosim is that, at least on my opinion, is that, as I told you guys, each one of the factions will have a different story. And I mean, the way that this works is that, let's say, the third mission of Holosim will be to mine gold ores, for example. Just an example here. But the lore content of this mission will be different for each faction. And as you play the stories, Crash, you have a hot mic, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
As you play those storylines, you guys will learn about events that I have created for the Starata's overall lore that I never shared before. So, for example, during the during the during the campaign, you learn about when for example, in the Oni campaign, you guys will learn about when the Ecos faction, during the Convergence War, they went to Frenir, one of the Oni sectors, and they pretty much terraformed uh, a world that hosted one of the biggest factories of the Oni civilization over there, killing millions of people. And this story is tied with the Balifa Grove formation lore, which is tied as well with the story of the characters that you will meet during the Holosim campaign. So this Punab, for example, just a minor spoiler, this Punab that will be your quest giver, he was during the Convergence War one of the soldiers of the Oni Consortium uh, during the all the during all the Convergence War, and he lived through some of those events. So during the campaign, while you guys do the quest, you guys will learn his perspective of the events that happened during the Convergence War, the attacks, the fights, and etc. etc. Uh, and for example, in the mud campaign, every one of the all the three quest givers have very different backgrounds. So, for example, the 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 quest givers from the Oni campaign, he was a military commander, as I said during the Convergence to War. The Mud campaign, uh, the Mud campaign is the quest giver is a member of the ecclesiarchy of the Mud civilization. It is the Diakon Howard Down, which is a guy that's responsible for tracking and subduing heresy spread across mud sectors. So his journey and the quest line of the mud is basically a holy war to spread uh, the mud faith across the sectors and defending the mud religious creed. It's going to be funny. I think you guys will enjoy it. And during this campaign, you learn how this character, the Diakon Howard Howell, was actually responsible for the formation of the Balifa Grove, at least indirectly. Yes, Agent Solace Hooghafer was headconed. It was the only headcon that I ever did in the Stratos lore because this was something that Math Matthew had created, and it really didn't align with all the other things that we had created in the Stratos lore, so he was exit. Uh, I can get one of our lore keepers. In one of our lore keepers, I spoke a little bit more about the Ecos faction overall, how they work, how their console work, and etc. You can check that episode. But in the future, I want you guys to be able to align yourselves with those factions. So, for example, you could become a member of the Ecos faction, and you could even be someone that's looking to integrate humanity together. So, for example, you could be trying to merge the Ecos back into the overall Mud faction. That's one of the plot lines that you can try to follow in the future of Star Atlas. And finally, the Ustur section. Val Phoenix, I didn't miss your question. I'm just finishing this introduction because I want to talk about what you just asked on C4. On the Ustur side, for the Ustur players, the main protagonist is going to be Nova Teacher, which is a genius Ustur, even for the Ustur standards. She is one of the Usturs that most quickly ascended through the path of enlightenment, and she was sent to Holosim to personally assess if you, the protagonist, the player, was worthy enough to join the sect of the Mother Craven path of enlightenment, which is the oldest and most honorable Ustur path of enlightenment schools that exist in the Ustur sector. So, and this character during the campaign, she is teaching you about the path of enlightenment while she is also trying to ascend to the soul stage of the path of enlightenment. So the players who play the Usur campaign, they will be able to learn more about my vision for what is the Usur path of enlightenment, how the different characters in game will pursue their path of enlightenments, uh, how enlightenment can be obtained, if there is a formula for that, how this works, and what's the impact that has in the Ustur society. And also something also interesting is that I also will talk about minor factions besides the ecos during the campaigns. So for example, in the Usus campaign, you learn about the unfoil states, you learn about the Eol Garadar deck, you also learn about other people, other members of the Usus species that are not aligned necessarily with the main branch. Uh, let's see the questions that you guys shared here. What about bounty hunters like Hunt Renegade Usus, for example? Absolutely, Bohemian. In the future, this is exactly the kind of feature that we want to add to the game. So, for example, if you follow one school of enlightenment of the Usurs that believes that the heretics, the people that don't follow the path of enlightenment, uh, they are heretics, you'll be able to get missions from your sect, from your faction, let's say, and capture other Usos, for example. No, Bohemian, they don't have anything to do with that. Will, let's say, mud players, could they be friendly with other NPC armies, like the bad Usos or whatever? Yes, absolutely, Agent Solans. The way that I see this happening is that, for example, in C4, and this also touches on Val Phoenix question and point. We want to build a complete world, a complete galaxy in Staratas, right? And as you guys see on this new C4 map, the galaxies, the sectors that we have, the map is actually huge, right? We have many systems, we have many regions. Each region has many systems. Every system has dozens of planets, and there's a lot of void to fill. And the way that we are going to fill this void, the way that we are going to make this world feel alive, is by introducing NPCs and the factions that we guys always hear me talking about, like the ecos and etc. What we are doing here now, today in Holosim, what we are creating here is the framework and testing the systems that we are developing for when we are confident enough to add those elements to C4. So right now, I think Jim mentioned this yesterday during the brew, but Star Atlas has two major concerns in terms of game development. First, we must develop a fun game. And second, we must develop a good economy. So Holosim is max packed to be the fun game. Holosim is everything is Holosim is quicker than in Sage. Everything is more free. You guys get access to new gameplay loops that are untested, that are entirely experimental. We introduce new logics, we introduce new systems, we introduce missions, we introduce everything that we think it's cool, everything that we think could make something potentially interesting for the Staratas world. You guys will see us testing it in Holocene first. The good thing of Holocene, the thing that we see value, the thing that you guys tell us that, guys, this is super cool, I really like this dynamic, etc. What we do is that we polish, we refine them, we add them to the new seasons of Holocene, and we start thinking about how we are going to implement this in C4. So this is a not necessarily a spoiler, but this is something that maybe some of you are not aware about. After we finish deploying C4 this year, what we are going to do is starting thinking about how we are going to introduce politics to the Sage C4 environment. So what this means to us here now today is that most probably what we are going to do is that we are going to start introducing in the next chapters of Holosim political structures that we can test to use in the future on C4. Because I believe most of you guys are like me, who loves our polis, who wants to see political gameplay loops, who wants to see faction diplomacy, who wants to see sectors developments and creations of laws, taxes, and etc. So this will probably be the next step, of where Holocene moves, and then make Galia great again, right? Make Iris great again, Miga. But yeah, this is how we approach development. Neo just wants to make fun of me. We really want to add political layers to Star Atlas, and I think we are reaching the point after C4. I think we will be ready to start tackling this new frontier of gameplay in our core products. And man, C4 is getting so close. I am super excited to finally see this taking shape. Especially the PTR. It's going to be game changing for us, I guess this is the right word. I mean, Holocene, I have huge expectations for this chapter of Holocene. Uh, it is super close, like Holocene is really, really close. I foresee our release at the end of this month slash first week of February. And I really want to see you guys engaging with a world that's more based on the lore of Star Atlas, you know? Uh, yes, Agent Solid, the PTR is testing, but nothing real permanent, but it is going to be like fundamental, paramount that we dedicate our energies to play this PTR and make it as good as possible. Because we need to nail down the data so we don't destroy our economy when the C4 ecosystem goes live. Katir, absolutely, my friend. Uh, Absolutely. And Agent Solus, you don't need to even worry about that because the way that the PTR is going to work, as far as I know right now, is that everyone will start from zero. For example, what's going to happen is that, let's say you guys get 1 million fake Atlas, and you guys will be able to buy some ships or something like that to start your journey in the PTR. You get assigned random ships and play with them and test the game features, test the gameplay loops, etc. I see you guys asking about any NPC group will have on-chain Atlas treasury. Also, yes, Katir, absolutely. The NPCs in the future of Star Atlas, they will actually be players like you guys. They will behave, they will be under the same rules, the same logic, and the same gameplay loops that you guys are submitted to. So it's going to be super exciting. The difference, uh, will be that the NPCs, they will have their own agendas that is created upon following the lore that we have created for them. So, for example, Jarvik pirates, they might make temporary truces or even trade with players if the players are unaligned, if the players are not members of the Council of Peace. But Yeah, they are still at the end of the day pirates. They'll try to rob you to get stuff from you, even to fool you to some extent. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, they behave like players, exactly. They'll be in world entities that behave like players, but follow their own lore, their own canon. Guys, any questions that you guys uh, Chat Roberts asking how the NPC will get funded. They will probably be funded from the Atlas emission curves. You know, they are basically potential loot in game, so it makes sense to have them funded by the missions wallet. Katir, that will be an option as well, especially for the Jarvik. I see it's been totally possible for you to bribe NPCs in game. Yes, Agent Solace. That will be defined by the sector that they are in. And of course, we'll have a complete table of how those NPCs work and etc. I can't reveal too much of the game device, the gaming design, but you can be sure that there will be like different tiers of NPCs, you know, different levels. It's not levels, but different tiers, like, and you guys will experiment this on Holosim actually. Uh, I don't think I mentioned this before, but while you are playing Holosim this season, your actions will work somewhat like what happens in GTA. You know, when you start doing wrong things in GTA, uh, and you get a star system, and when you start doing some heavy bad stuff, the your you get more stars and more and stronger and more well-funded police come after you. That's what's going to happen during this season of Holocene. Uh, so, for example, if you are mining with 100 imps, the Ecos will send big capital ships to kill you. 100%. But if you are just using some minor ships like a tip, they will send you a few unibombas to harass you and things like that, you know? So the more that you mine, the more that you act in game, the more XP and achievements you will get, but also the more targeted you will be by the ecos and PCs in game. So you need to balance everything. And here's a friend's tip for you guys in Holocene this season. Don't go over there to mine using only miner fleets. You need to have combat fleets to defend your miners. Otherwise, they'll get wrecked. They'll get completely destroyed. Because now there will be people after you guys trying to destroy your fleets, etc. Which I think is really cool because I always wanted to do PvE in Star Atlas and G8, whatever you prefer. But there will be enemies lurking in the darkness trying to get your miners. Katir, the idea is yes, we want to add NPCs to C4. We want to add a quest system for C4. And it will probably work differently from Holocene. So one way that we were studying how to do this is that the quests on C4 will award Zinc XP. So you get Zinc points. Instead of getting Atlas, you get Zinc XP points, which will help you farm the airdrop of the network. Any other questions, guys, before we close today? Uh, Jade, maybe we can make it to the zinc airdrop. Yes, and it will probably follow up in the future ones as well. At least that's what we intend to do. You will, Val Phoenix. The Jarviks are also one of the major unaligned factions of Star Atlas, and they will surely appear both in the novel, the Convergence War novel, and also in gameplay loops. Hang tight. Hang tight because they will come. I also want to share today's code with you guys. Hold on a second. The code for today is HoloNewt. Go get your tickets for Arian's Blessings. Make sure you don't miss it. Did you guys like the HoloNewt code? But yeah, guys, I think this is it. Any any questions before we close today's lore keepers? I hope you guys enjoyed. As I said, I didn't have too much time to organize this one as we are transitioning. Little baby Polis is doing fine, Katir. She's gaining weight, crying a lot. Her father and her mother are not sleeping too much, but she's great. She's doing fine. Thank you, friend, for asking. Uh, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today for our first episode of the Lore Keepers. Tomorrow we have the game night. Make sure to be there. Let's have some fun. Chipto deployed many fixes to the new maps in Unreal Engine. So I think it's going to be super fun. Let's go play together. And thank you guys for being here. Uh, let's keep building. Let's keep having fun. And don't miss the Stratos lore. See you guys tomorrow. See y'all. Bye bye.